Yo, I'm Godin, and this month I've made progress on the guest house. And I think I find a unique style for rendering that gives my scene an illustration style that works very well for anime background look. I'll explain how I did it later in this video, but first I need to tell you how my year started for Silk Road project. I've already posted a video about it, but I'm so happy I'm going to give it another go here too. I applied by sending a Silk Road project prototype a few months ago to the Epic Mega Grants, a support program run by Epic for people who use Unreal, and it was well received as Epic put me in touch with Dell, the manufacturer, who were able to replace my workstation with the state-of-the-art machine. And when I say state-of-the-art, I mean an ultra-wide 40-inch screen and the best components on the market. This is truly amazing. My only regret is that I now have no excuses to be productive. I can no longer procrastinate by watching YouTube videos while waiting for my computer to finish calculating the erosion simulation for a turn, for example. But as a result, I had to take the early part of January to reconfigure my desktop, migrate my entire project to my new machine, and reinstall all my software. It seems I'm still able to find excuses after all. Once I had settled in, I went back to the environment art. Last month, I showed you my progress on the props modeling workflow centered around Houdini. I refined that workflow this month and focused on the materials and rendering. As I mentioned in the previous devlog, I chose a no texture bake approach. The reasoning being that with Nanite, I'm able to achieve the level of detail I want without the need for normal maps, and I can therefore save the memory cost of those maps. The other advantage is that it eliminates the texture bake steps when creating props, which can be tedious and time consuming, especially when I am looking to make retake. Historically, normal maps have been grouped in texture atlases. Generally, you don't want to bake a map for each individual props, and it's preferable to group a small number of props together, unfold the UVs on the same layout, and bake the normal maps for all your props on the same atlas. This reduces the number of maps loaded during gameplay, but it requires organization when creating props. If one of the props in the groups need to be changed, the whole groups of props has to be retweaked and rebaked since they share the same atlas. By freeing myself from the normal bake, I also free myself from the need to manage texture atlases, and this allows me to be both faster and more flexible. The time it takes me between creating an asset and integrating it into Unreal is considerably reduced thanks to this. And it adds another advantage, to do with rendering style. Let's talk about rendering style. I applied two post-process effects to the entire image to give that subtle illustrative effect to the background. The first effect is a filter called Kuwahara, which is a blurring technique but retains sharp edges. It's as if brush strokes has been applied and deliberately degrades the image to avoid the overly perfect lines and geometric shapes inherent in computer-generated geometry. In my case, the effect remains very subtle. It's not obvious at first glance that it's active, but it's just what it needs to give the image something special, without losing too much detail either. The second post-process effect I've added is a simple outline that I apply to the image to give the impression that a line art has been drawn and reinforce the illustration style. Here again, I've tried to be subtle to avoid having too strong an effect that would overpower the rest of the image. This is especially true of outline effects, which can quickly become too noisy. The lines are very thin and have an opacity of 50% to blend in better with the rest of the image. The outline effect is created by detecting the change in direction of normal. This also means that the effect is sensitive to the quality of the normals. If the normal of my geometry are affected by a normal map, then I need to make sure that this normal map has a sufficiently high resolution for the outline to be detected properly. A normal map that's too small introduces blurring or pixelation artifacts that degrades the quality of the outline, and this is another reason why I have decided to move away from a normal map bake workflow. Playing directly with the sharp edges of my geometry gives me a perfect outline in post-processing. And that's all for January. Thank you all for your support. I'm hoping for great things in 2025 for Secret Project, so subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, so you won't miss any of my progress. Thank you again. See ya. Bye.